What's up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 86 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got a really awesome show lined up for you today. But if you guys caught episode 85, you saw we had none other than my man Pi Gomez. And let me tell you, I don't even know where to start. Pi has so many stories. I told him, I'm like, dude, you are a hip-hop historian of the Arizona community, man. I mean, from seeing NWA in 1987, touring with Cypress Hill, House of Pain, like in 91, you know what I mean? Like in the start of their careers. Insane, you know, and just such a truly, genuinely good guy, too. He hit me up afterwards. It was like my father really loved it. He said I sounded like a star. Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's the reaction that we like. So it was an honor to have you on the show, my brother. And make sure you guys watch episode 85. All right. But today's guest has been a staple in the Arizona community for so many years now. We're going to talk about her early childhood days. We're also going to talk about how she became a news broadcaster and meteorologist for 3TV. We're going to talk about her new transition into politics and so much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Kim Quintero.
Hey guys, Kim Quintero here, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. Oh, what was I like as a kid? I was super shy, very nervous about new experiences, trying new things. I was not athletic whatsoever. In fact, my grandma on my mom's side kind of raised me growing up while my parents were working full time, and grandma always had a kitchen loaded of treats, so I was a former fat kid. And I didn't have the most self-confidence in myself, but one thing I did excel at was school. I was always kind of a bookworm. I was kind of a teacher pleaser. Yeah. So that was kind of probably through junior high, and then once I got into high school, I joined Color Guard, and that kind of gave me a newfound confidence, and it taught me the value of teamwork. We would go to competitions all the time. Right. And so that kind of helped me get out of my shell just as I grew up. As a child growing up, my dad's side of the family was Hispanic, is Hispanic. Most of them actually came from Mexico, and most of them, their first language was Spanish. On the flip side, my mom's side of the family, they were from Sicily and the Czech Republic, and my mom's first language was English. So we had a very blended family. When we went to Grandma and Grandpa's house on my dad's side, I couldn't understand half of what they were saying because they spoke in Spanish, and that was not, when I was a child, that wasn't a priority for my parents to teach me Spanish as my first language, which was unfortunate. But it taught me a lot about trying to communicate in other ways, and I did pick up little things here and there growing up. My grandparents, coming from Mexico, they were migrant farm workers from Sinaloa. Okay. They used to pick cantaloupes in the San Joaquin Valley of California, and we had some of the best cantaloupes from them.
Oh, and I can imagine.
They did teach me definitely the value of hard work. They worked so hard throughout their entire lives, and they made a very good life for themselves. They were living out the American dream. Unfortunately, they never had the opportunity to go to college. It wasn't something that was important to my dad. It wasn't something that was important to my mom when they were growing up. So they went straight into the working field. They were blue-collar workers, and they wanted a different life for me. They wanted me to go to school. They wanted me to go to college, so they were very supportive. Took out a few student loans. I went to Fresno State, got my degree in broadcast journalism there, and then once I entered the TV industry, I went on to get my second degree from Mississippi State, and so I got that degree in broadcast meteorology. So I was really the first person in my family to go to to college and graduate from college. But my entire family has been very successful for what they put themselves through, what the opportunities that they created for themselves. They're still both doing very well. My dad, when I was younger, when I was in high school, college, he worked at the Men's Warehouse and he was a salesman. Okay. And I knew when I was going to college, I wanted to do something in TV news. When I was younger, I mentioned I stayed at grandma's house all the time. I didn't really have a whole lot of experiences that a child would have. I didn't play sports. I didn't go to a lot of friends' houses. My grandma lived in kind of the ghetto, so she was concerned that I was going to get in trouble by going to neighbor houses and stuff like that. So I was very sheltered, and I saw all of the fascinating stories and events that TV reporters were covering. And I thought, as a child, I want to do that. I want to see history in the making. And I basically went through high school. I worked for our high school newspaper. And then as I got into college, I knew I wanted to do something in TV news. So going back to my dad, working at the Men's Warehouse, he would sell suits to so many business executives. He became friends with general managers at TV stations and news anchors. And the general manager from the Fox affiliate in Fresno became friends with my dad. And when I was about 18 or 19, freshman or sophomore in college, my dad's like, hey, my daughter wants to be in this industry. Can you give her some sort of behind the scenes job that she can work at while she's going to college? Right. So the next day, the news director called me and introduced himself and said, come down for an interview. I didn't know what I was interviewing for, but my dad had mentioned, hey, look out for a call from someone. So I went down to the Fox affiliate station. They asked me, can you run studio cameras? Can you edit video? Can you run teleprompter? And I was like, no, I have no experience. And he looked at me and was like, okay, we're going to pay you minimum wage and we're going to teach you how to do everything behind the scenes. And I was like, fabulous. So I worked full time at the TV station starting about age 19. And they taught me everything from running studio cameras, running teleprompter, video editing, assignment editing, just general news writing. And then I would take my classes kind of on the side. A lot of my classes were online classes so that I could work 40 hours a week. And I was able to graduate that way. I want to say the last semester I was in college, I started shadowing TV reporters. I would go out in the field with them. I would conduct their interviews. I would actually write some of their stories for them, and then they would go out and present it. Yeah. And by the time I had graduated college, I had a demo reel from some of the stories I had helped reporters turn. And then our meteorologist at the time had let me fill in for him because they had fired like one of their other meteorologists, and he was working nonstop. And all he wanted to do was take vacation time. Right. So while I was in college, he was like, can you come in and shadow me for a week? I'll teach you what high pressure is, low pressure, cold front jet stream. I'll show you how to make some basic graphics, and you can do the weather for me for a few days while I just catch up on some sleep. And I said, absolutely. So I did that, and I got enough material to get a demo reel together. I sent it out all over the country. Okay. And the station that picked me up was in Eugene, Oregon. It was a CBS affiliate. They were hiring me fresh out of college. It was weekend weather and then reporting 3 days a week. And then eventually I went on to anchor. And so that's how I got my start in TV news. I've done a lot of fun things since I have been here in Phoenix. I've been broadcasting in Phoenix, I was for close to 10 years. I want to say the number one most memorable thing was actually the first time I went on air to report back in Fresno. Again, kind of an intern position, but I was shadowing reporters. And they wanted me to fill in one evening, and I don't even remember the story, but I remember standing out in a dark field, pitch black field, and there was a camera in front of me with my photographer, and I had the audio on in my ear. It's called IFB. I had that in my ear. I was hearing the anchors. I knew my lines for my script, but the photographer had kept his top light on his camera switched off until they were just about to come to me. Again, in a pitch black dark field, he turns on his light as they're tossing to me. All of a sudden, these swarms of bugs start flying towards me, and one of them like lands on my lip, and I'm like trying to, I don't know what it was, a moth or something. I'm like trying to like spit out my lines, and it's like starting to crawl into my mouth, and I like stepped off the camera. I start spitting. I was mortified. I don't even remember anything after that. So that was number one. Another one more recently, just being here in Phoenix. So I used this job in Phoenix as an opportunity to push myself out of my comfort zone. So I would do a lot of crazy, zany things. One of which was I had an opportunity to rappel off of Cityscape. And this was for a fundraiser with law enforcement for Special Olympics. And so Cityscape, I want to say, is about 27 stories. And I was harnessed, tethered in with a rope and a harness, and I had a helmet on, and I'm at the top of Cityscape. Wow. And they're like, okay, ready, lean back. And I was terrified. I'm like, is this how it's going to end? Good Lord, I hope not.
Is this the moment?
Is this how it's, and I jumped back, and the rope worked.
Well, yeah, thank God.
I was white knuckling the whole way down, and I had to squeeze this little lever to kind of help me get down Cityscape. And there were law enforcement officers on each side that were doing the same thing, and they're speeding down. Oh, yes. And I am like clenching so hard and going so slow. Right. I don't even remember how long it took me to get down, but it took me quite a while. But the feeling of going over the edge and conquering that fear of heights was something that I will never forget. And then just another fun memory, NASCAR comes to town at Phoenix Raceway every year, a couple times a year. And I want to say about 3 years ago, I was able to take a ride in a pace car with Danny Suarez, and he just won one of the last races in NASCAR. He was one of the first Hispanic NASCAR drivers to win that, and so I was able to ride with him when he was little old Danny, like just trying to make it in the circuit. Right. And he took the curves around Phoenix Raceway pretty conservatively. I think we went like 80 or 90, so it was nothing crazy. But it was a thrill I won't forget. I had my photographer in the back seat, and we were doing this live, of course, and the camera's just flying all around as he's going around the racetrack. But it made for some pretty good TV, and that's something I won't ever forget. Last year in November, I made the tough choice to leave TV news after about 15 years. I loved it every step of the way, but I felt like I had a bigger purpose that God had planned for my life, and TV just wasn't it anymore. And I never thought I would get involved in politics, but sure enough, I am the Director of Communications for the Arizona State Senate Republicans. The position just kind of fell into my lap. I was seeing a Christian counselor every few weeks just for, overall health and wellness, and just trying to talk about issues I was struggling with. And one of the issues was just not feeling fulfilled and content within my job. And I remember my counselor, her name was Kim also, her asked me, like, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? And I was just in such a funk, and I was just like, I don't know. And I was like, but I can tell you, I hate the direction our society is going in. And I started like going off on my soapbox about what I didn't like about the direction of our society. And she's like, maybe you should do something in politics. And I just kind of shook it off. But being in TV news, you make a lot of random contacts in so many different places. And one of the contacts I made was a political consultant that used to come do a Sunday morning political show through 3TV and CBS 5. And I had never interacted with him politically. We would talk about fishing. I love to fish. We would talk about outdoorsy stuff. So we had made a friendship based on that. And I blindly reached out to him on social media one day, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of looking at changing careers. And I'm thinking about maybe doing something in the political realm. I don't know what that would look like, but if you have any ideas, let me know. And he pointed me in the direction of this position that came available, and I met with the managers and the staff, and it just all fell into place pretty quickly. And I haven't been happier. I feel very appreciated. It means a lot when your bosses and your coworkers appreciate you. So that has been amazing, and I've been learning a lot. Mind you, politics, it's a lot of law. It's a lot of complicated subject matter, and I felt like at least the first couple of months of this new job, every day I was going into like a master's like poli-sci class or a law class, and everyone was talking Chinese to me. But I've adapted, I've been learning, and I feel like I am making a difference. I need to remind myself of that sometimes because I forget. Being in the political spectrum, you don't see the nice messages from the public. Yeah, you see a lot of hateful messages, but I know just being out in the public and people that will stop me because they remember me from being on 3TV or CBS 5. They do share that appreciation. I mean, even little girls, they'll talk about wanting to be in TV news or be a weather person, and it feels pretty amazing to know that I have left that impression on them. And if I can still bring a smile to somebody on my everyday outings, like, that means a lot. And we need to remember to enjoy the simple things, because the simple things can mean everything at the end of the day. I want to give a shout out to my Senate President, Karen Fan. This is her last legislative session, and she has been one of the best bosses I have ever had. And I'm really sad that she's going to be leaving the legislature come January. So I'll give a shout out to her. I'll give a shout out to my mom because she had COVID a few days ago, but she's doing a lot better. And I'll give a shout out to all of our AZ family viewers that continue to stop me and say hi whenever they see me. That means the world to me, so shout out.
There you have it. Man, shout out to Kim Quintero, man. Thank you so much for doing the show, Kim. Kim has been in the media field out here in Arizona for almost 2 decades. You know, just solid individual. And, you know, I always remember her from 3TV, and, you know, just good people, man. And it was just truly, truly an honor to have her on the show. So I wish you nothing but continued success in your new ventures, and just keep being a badass. Make sure you guys are following her on social media. And shout out to my brother, Jimmy Nelson, on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to that YouTube channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. Well, this was definitely one for the books. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy. Just give me 5, y'all.
Everything you get,